Hi guys, it's Jean here. Welcome to my channel. So today thought I'll do another mom chat because I'm currently in the car right now waiting. It's currently 10:30 and we've got back-to-back play dates today. This girl has more of a social life than I do, but the meetup's not till 11 o'clock. So I thought I'll come here early to do a little bit of shopping beforehand because I don't think I'll have time after in case I'm running out of time. But little miss is currently napping in the car and we still got plenty of time, so I thought I'll let her take a snooze before I wake up the monster. And yeah, so I thought I will sit down and chat with you guys. Today I wanted to talk about, I guess, postnatal depression. I guess for me, it's something that I knew I would probably deal with having history of depression. For me and my previous journey. So I've obviously this channel was created on the back of my journey with depression, ways of me reaching out and also expressing myself. So I guess the thing about me is that I'm very logical, but I'm very aware of what my problems are. I'm very open to discuss about it. I'm very well aware that one of my main problems is, I guess, dealing with people, not so much depression, not so much myself as much as, I guess, communicating and just dealing with people, and different, I guess, conflicts in characteristics and personalities and things like that. When it came to pregnancy though, postnatal, I guess I knew I would have experienced some, which I'm actually surprised I'm doing quite well. But I guess I wanted to talk about an open discussion about, how common it is to go through it. And I've realized it's not, even though there's more awareness nowadays, it's not something that's openly discussed. But yeah, so I guess during my pregnancy, there was moments for me, the whole pregnancy was more a surreal shock. Even until the day she was born, I was in this back of my mind, this denial, what if something happened? What if, because 9 months is a very long time to carry a child and there's so much anxiety involved, the things you read about, especially mums that, first-time mums to be especially, but Marcus mums in general, the idea of wanting a child and, being well prepared mentally to have a child. Like some mums I know, it's their life dream to have a child. And, it's scary that with 9 months, you don't know whether they would go through with it. If that's, I don't know if I'm making sense, but that anxiety of what if something happened, a lot of mums, fortunately I haven't had that experience, but I know a lot of times, miscarriage is a very common thing to happen. And there's, it's nothing, it may not have anything to do with you itself. Maybe the pregnancy, it just wasn't meant to be, but that for me was a big anxiety, a big risk. There's something that I was scared about is that it's actually quite common than I thought. Especially, my mum had miscarriages. I know a lot of people that had miscarriages, and that's something that you're always scared about during pregnancy, something that you always worry about. So I was worried about that. And then, the day she was born was very unexpected and I was in shock, I guess. And then after that point, for me, like I said, I'm a very logical person, so I know between, what to expect. I'm prepared in my mindset as in, I expect lack of sleep. I expect, to be unprepared or not know what I'm doing. But at the same time, I'm ready for those guidance. I'm ready to start my new chapter and be thrown into those responsibilities. But the circumstances in her birth was definitely not what I expected. And even though as a new mum, her being a month early premature and she was in hospital for almost a month, it was a good transition, whereas, I wasn't thrown into the deep end straight away doing 3 hours, rotations, feeding and lack of sleep, because there was a time period where I went home first from the hospital and she stayed there, where I did get to sleep in. I did get to slowly transition into, 24-hour care for her. But I guess in a way for me, that was something that triggered a depression that I didn't think would. Like, there was a time after giving birth. It's actually the day I gave birth to her. I gave birth to her at night at 6:06 p.m. And because, I had a cesarean, it was classified as a surgery. So that night, and plus it was a public holiday, so the hospital was fairly quiet that night anyway. After I gave birth, Cal went with her to the nursery and they put me in a separate room. And that whole night, I was left alone almost. And I felt like I didn't know what to do. Like, is this the right thing? Am I supposed to see her? I wasn't sure. And then after that was where I guess my depression kind of started to creep up, and it got to the point where when I returned home from hospital without her, that night was the most confusing night, one of the most confusing nights. Like, I didn't know what to expect. And there were a couple of times, especially when it's not just about being a new mum and taking care of the child, it's about changes to your body as well. I remember one night I was at home and I was just, she was still in hospital. There's nothing much I could do. I couldn't hold her. I couldn't care for her because she was still in hospital. But the only thing I could do was really express milk for her. And I was expressing milk. And then all of a sudden, like, after I expressed, I went to the bathroom to have a shower and I just stood there. I stood there and with a heavy heart, I just started crying, like full on crying. And Cal was like, what's wrong? It sounds silly at the time, but for me, like, I was just crying because my boobs, I felt like they were sagging. And it's I guess it sounds a bit dramatic, but I think the idea of, my body, I've never been a boob person. I hated having big boobs. I've always wanted flatter boobs because I hated wearing a bra. But the idea of, like, once the breast comes in, the engorgement and stuff like that, like, it really, really hit me, like, that my boobs will forever be sagging. But I think it's also a build up on emotions of this overwhelming feeling of being out of control, not being able to control situations. So yeah, that was one experience that I had. And it wasn't so much my boobs were sagging as much. I think what also included in that moment was the fact that I also felt lost. I also felt like I didn't know what to do. And there was a few nights I just cried at night because I didn't know whether I was doing the right thing. I felt lonely. I felt that, from being pre-motherhood to post-motherhood, this overwhelming, like, experience of being a mother, like, being a nurturing mother. But when Izzy wasn't home with me, I felt lost. Like, I felt confused because I did not know. I felt useless. All of a sudden, I didn't know my life before having her. What I used to do was no longer me. Like, felt like I was pressuring myself into this new role where I couldn't fulfill completely, if that makes sense. So I kind of felt like this lost in confusion in what to do. And then once Isabel came home with us, the first night was a very hard night. All this grunting, all these noises that she made that we never knew because we never stayed overnight with her. That, and also the moments where she was quite jumping over me because we didn't know whether she was still breathing or not. That was overwhelming. And then a couple of nights after that, when she started getting really restless in the new environment, I'm not going to lie, there were moments where I thought, of just leaving her, the crying, the, lack of sleep, insomnia kicking in, and then, just her crying. There were moments where I felt like, this is my life now. It's no longer about me. My priorities is all about her, that I didn't know who I was anymore. There were nights where I couldn't, I was so tired, but it was between Kang and I, who was more awake, who was more, and as much as even though you're so physically exhausted, it's not even your life. You can't even say, that's it, I've had enough, because it's not you anymore, it's her. And there were moments where I didn't know what to do, that I felt so numb. I just stood there with her crying so loudly, and I just felt like wanting to just leave her there and just walk away, or just let her cry it out and let her sleep, even though it's not like the whingy cry. It was like the full on, crying for my life kind of cry. And I know that a lot of parents go through this, especially new mums that don't know what to expect. But at the same time, you feel this loneliness. You feel this, I think the main problem is you feel alone at that very moment. And it's very hard. And sometimes, you just think, that split second, you think, do I want to be a mum? Like, I don't know whether or not I'm up for it. It's not something that, I can easily return or so, whatnot. You just kind of feel like, yeah. Like, I'm not going to lie, there were moments where I felt like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing. But then there are moments where, you start to see them settled, and you start to see them smile, that you think, you know what, I've got this. And like I said, today I've got back-to-back, because I've also got a mother's group this afternoon, and this is the second session. And the first session, I was excited and worried about mother's group at the same time, because I really wanted to do mother's group. I was something that I was being looking forward to be able to share experiences with other mothers, because I'm fairly open. But I was so surprised with our first session that I went last week, how open and honest the mothers were. One of the mothers, who is international, her family is overseas, her and her husband are here, and she openly, as we're going around in circles, just introducing ourselves and telling everyone what your biggest challenge was last week, and what, your best experience was. She was very honest and said, the biggest, I guess, challenge was depression. Like, sometimes, because she had no family, she would just cry and wouldn't know what to do because she had no family. And it was very raw and honest. And at that moment, you could feel every mother in there sympathize against her, and have that, I know that feeling. And from that moment, I knew that we had a good bond already. Like, I just met these mums, but it was good to know that you're not alone in this journey. It's also different, the experiences, the world of unknown, it's not an unknown thing of how to do certain things. It's how to look after another life. That can be very intimidating, can be very scary, but I think it's very important that, you don't hide it, because a lot of mums still don't openly discuss it, because it's that fear of being judged as well. It's that fear of, being criticized, especially surprisingly by other mums, that, everything looks like you can do something, but that fear of being judged, that you can't handle it. It's a lot of weight on mum's shoulders. I know nowadays dads are very much hands-on, but as a mother, you still have that very much the feeling of having everything on your shoulder kind of thing. So, I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. But anyway, so it is something that I am openly, I always express how I'm feeling to everyone. And I'm always there for my girlfriends, because I've had quite a lot now that's given birth in the past couple of weeks or months. But yeah, so if you know someone that's just given birth, if you know someone that's a mother that looks like they're struggling, they may not openly tell you about it, but, just being there for them, listening and offering a helping hand really makes a big difference. And if you are going through that moment where you feel utterly alone, and that feeling of, those moments where your baby is crying, you don't know what to do, or you just feel numb with, emotions, it's okay to reach out. It's okay, to have that moment. It's okay sometimes to cry, just let it all out, because just know that you're not the only one. You're not alone in this journey. We are all, and it's good to know that there are other people that, we can bond together and support each other. So I guess that is what I wanted to discuss. Something, you know, I may bring this up again later on because I'm all about feelings. But yeah, something that I wanted to put out there, that it's hard being a mum. It's not something that, you know, you can it's not a hobby or something that you can easily give up or, you know, return back if you're not interested or sell. It's, you know, looking after another human being. And at the end of the day, when you see them happy, when you see them healthy, then you know you're doing the right thing. So yeah, that is my 2 cents into that topic. So it is almost 11 now. I'm going to take her out for a little walk. Myself, get a little bit of fresh air and freshen up before I meet. So let me know if you've had an experience. Let me know how you dealt with it. I hope you like this video. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to watch more. Not all my videos are baby related or mum related, but let me know if there's specific videos you want me to talk about. But yeah, so until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.